Alrighty. Hello, hello. Welcome to another state test prep lesson today. Ooh, I got the camera perfect. We are starting with standard 7.NS.1. NS standing for number sense. Okay? How well you work with numbers. Let's jump right in. Question 1 from the Ohio Practice OST says an equation is shown where b is less than 0 and c is less than 0. This is very important. Place the 2 points on the number line. And they tell you that a minus b equals c. Place the 2 points on the number line to show possible locations of a and c. Okay. So, first we have to figure out where b is. If we go on the number line, we go -1, -2, -3, -4. Here's the biggest issue people are going to run into. Regardless of whatever you put in for a and c, you have to realize that this is minus -4. And what happens when you try to subtract a negative number? Essentially, you're making it positive. Okay? So if I had 1 minus -4, that would essentially be 1 plus 4, which is 5. Okay? So, C needs to be less than 0. So my answer needs to be a negative number. So what you really have to do is you have to make sure that A is placed to the left of B. A has to be to the left of B. Okay? The simplest way to do it is to place A directly to the left of B. So what happens if you put A directly to the left of B? Well, we know that this is -4. That would make this -5. Then you have -5 minus -4 equals what? Well, this minus negative essentially becomes positive. So -5 plus 4 makes -1. So then your C would go at -1 right here. This isn't the only answer. The state test will accept a variety of answers, but in order for this to be correct, A has to be to the left of B. A must be to the left of B. Because if A is to the right of B, then C will become positive. So A has to be to the left of B. All right, question 2 from the Spring 2016 OST, no calculator allowed. What is the value of -A plus B? Okay, so we're left with not -A. What is the value of A plus B? A is at -2. B is at 2. Okay, there's no calculator allowed here. So there's ways that you can there's a couple ways you can look at this, right? You can, A, use the commutative property. Commutative property says that you can swap the order of things in addition and subtraction. So you could swap this around and make this 2 minus 2 instead. Just move the -2 over here and the +2 over here. Or you could use the number line. You're at -2, you're adding 2, so you move to the right 1, 2, and you're now at 0. Either way, whichever way you slice it, it's 0. Alrighty. Nope. New page. Question 3. A number line is shown. Select all of the points that are 7 units from point P on the number line. Keyword, select all. Select all. Whenever you see select all, you're thinking more than one right answer. That's the first thing I want to think of. There will be the rare occasion where they'll give you a select all with only one right answer, but that is a very rare occasion. That's not to say it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen often. you're looking for more than one right answer. Well, so we're going 7 units away from P, so let's go left first. Starting at P, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Point A is 7 units away. Now go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. D is your other one. So it is A and D. All right. Question 4. Spring 2018, no calculator. 3 numbers are plotted on a number line as shown. P, M, and N. Theoretically, these are 4 numbers because 0. But anyway. This item has 3 parts. So this is potentially a 3-point question. When we talk about needing 15 points to get to basic, or 24 points to get to proficient, this one question, if you get all 3 parts right, makes up over 10% of that journey. In the sense of getting the basic, this one question can make up 20% of that journey. So let's take this seriously. Which expression is equivalent? Equivalent meaning equal. Look at the beginning of the word. Equal. To m minus n. Do we have negative m plus n? Do we have negative m plus, parentheses negative n, m plus n, or m plus negative n? Okay, but we know that if this is m minus n, it's not going to be m plus n. That's out. Here, you're swapping the sign of both. You can't really do that without changing the value. So it wouldn't be equal. Okay. Here, you're changing the value of m. And if you look at the difference between minus n and plus negative n, this is the same thing. But changing m doesn't do anything. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, let me rephrase. Changing m doesn't make this equal. Changing m makes this not equal. The answer is D. Because think about if you were to use the distributive property, right? If you were to distribute this positive 1 to this negative n, you would end up with m minus n. All right. So, part B, for each expression, select a box to identify whether the value of the expression is to the left or right of m on the number line. So, we're going to assume that m, for all intents and purposes, let's just assume that m is negative 2. Let's assume that n is 1. P, let's say negative 4. We don't know if those are exact numbers, but this just helps us visualize. Okay, m plus n. This would be negative 2 plus 1. That's would just bring you closer. You're trending closer to n. So this would be to the right of m. M minus n. Okay, this is still a positive number. Negative 2 minus 1 would make it more negative, which would be negative 3, which would be to the left. M plus P. M plus P in our example is negative 2 minus 4. Or, I'm sorry, plus negative 4. Let me write this how we've been writing it. Negative 2 plus negative 4, which is the same as negative 2 minus 4, which is negative 6 to the left of m. M minus P would be negative 2 minus negative 4. And just like as we saw in previous questions, if you distribute this negative to the parentheses, that will become a positive. So negative 2 plus 4, which is 2. And we'll go to the right of n. Create an expression that represents the distance on the number line between m and p. Ooh. Excuse me. Create an expression that represents the distance on the number line between m and p. So you're trying to create an expression that represents this area. Okay? So, let's actually come back to this question. I'm going to put that one on hold, and we're going to come back to that. Because that's a challenging question. Let's go to question 5. We'll come back to that later. A teacher selects two different numbers, p and q, and states that p plus q equals 0. What statement can be true about these two numbers? So p plus q equals 0. Okay, so what statement can be true? Both numbers are positive. Well, if both numbers are positive, let's say you have, I don't know, 2 plus 3, then the final result will be larger than both of them, right? Because you're adding positive numbers. So this can't be A. Both numbers are negative. Same thing. Negative 2 plus negative 3 would be the same as negative 2 minus 3. Your result would be smaller than both numbers. So there's that. One number is 0 and the other is positive. Well, 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. The other has to be a positive number, which means it can't be 0, because 0 is neither positive nor negative. So it can't be this, because we'll always end up with a number bigger than 0. Our only choice left, one number is positive and the other is negative. That would be like if you had negative 2 plus 2, and you get 0. All right. Question number 6. Which number is equivalent to 8 over 11? So this requires a bit of long division. And here's the thing, okay? Without even doing any long division at all, you can already eliminate one of these answers. And the answer you can eliminate is D. Why? Because 8 out of 11, or 8 over 11, but 8 out of 11, is less than a whole. So you can't have a value over 1. So let's do some long division. Remember, when you do long division out of a fraction, the denominator is your divisor. The numerator is your dividend, the number inside the division. Okay? So, let's get to work. 11 doesn't go into 8. So, we add a decimal point. And the decimal point goes above as well. And we add a 0. Then we ask, how many times does 11 go into 80? The answer is 7. 11 times 7 is 77, which leaves you with 3. We're not done. We still have a remainder, so we add another 0, bring it down. How many times does 11 go into 30? 2. So, 11 times 2 is 22. That gives you 8. Add another 0, and wow, I can see how this is going to end. Bring it down. How many times does 11 go into 80? We've done this already. 7. 11 times 7. 77. You can keep going on this over and over and over again. But the moral of the story is that it's going to be 0.7272727272 repeating. First off, that's not 0.7. So when you have a situation where you're going to end up repeating, how this is written is you take the first repeating number and the last repeating number, so 7 and 2, and you put a bar over it. That bar means that 7 and 2 will repeat forever and ever and ever. That matches choice B. Choice A assumes that it's 0.72 and then it just stops, which is not the case. Question 7. Gerard adds weight to the end of a hanging spring as shown. The spring stretches to a length of p centimeters. So let's visualize this. The string stretches to a length of p centimeters. And then he removes some weight, and the spring moves up by q centimeters. I'm not even showing you. The spring stretches down p centimeters, and then he removes some weight and it moves back up q centimeters. Which expression represents the length of the spring after Gerard removes weight? So we're trying to figure out which expression represents this. Well, this is a lot easier when you can draw this out, because you know it's the distance of P minus the distance of Q. So which one of these is the distance of P minus the distance of Q? Not A, not B, C. Distance of P minus the distance of Q. That's your answer. Question 8. No calculator allowed. The temperature yesterday in Perrysburg was negative 6 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature today in Perrysburg is 6 degrees warmer. What is the temperature today? All this is asking is negative 6 plus 6. Okay, warmer. Warmer means the temperature is going up. Big word here, warmer. If this was 6 degrees colder, you would get lower. However, since it is warmer, you're adding. What is negative 6 plus 6? Or what is 6 minus 6? It is 0. All right. We have a lot of questions in this section. Question 9. Which expression is equivalent to negative 7? Let's think about it. 2 minus 5. 2 minus 5. A way you could do this, you could draw number lines starting at 0. Make some hashes. 4, 5, 6, 7. So start at 2. Go left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you at negative 7? No. So it's not that. Make more hashes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you're starting at negative 2. So starting from 0, 1 to the left. You're moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's this one. Just for fun, 2 minus negative 5 would be positive 3. Negative 2, I'm sorry, would be positive 7. Negative 2 minus negative 5 would be positive 3. Question 10. Which expression is equivalent to 8.2 minus 11.34. This is very similar to one we saw earlier, by which I mean the answer is pretty much going to be the same. It's B. It's the one where you just put the minus in parentheses and then stick a plus outside of it. If you want an explanation on that, that was question... Is that question 2? We did a question like that one, wasn't it? Either way. Anyway. No, because now it's going to bother me. Oh, it's question 4. It's question 4. All right. Question 11, Spring 2023, OST, no calculator. An expression is shown. What is the value of this expression? So, first we want to address this situation right here. Okay? This negative and this negative will come together to make a positive. Okay? So with that being said, let's just read from left to right. Negative 5 plus 5. Anytime you have negative of a number plus the positive of that number, it just makes 0. So negative 5 plus 5 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. And 2 minus 10. Well, let's draw a number line. If you don't remember 2 minus 10. Here is 2 minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that 10 is at negative 8. So that's the answer. All right, we're just flying through. Here we go. Still no calculator. Question 12 from the Spring 2023 OST. A submarine is at a depth of negative 410 meters from sea level. It descends 1,640 meters. What is the new depth in meters of the submarine? So we're starting at negative 410. And we are going down. It descends a further negative 1640. Okay. What is the new depth in meters of the submarine? Now, this one will confuse some people, inevitably, especially without a calculator. Here's what you have to do. And this only works if both of your numbers are negative. Okay? If both of your numbers are negative, you can just add the two numbers together. 410 plus 1640. So you have 0. 1 plus 4 is 5. 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. The only thing you have to remember to do is you have to remember to stick the negative back up front. You have to remember to stick the negative back up front. All right, question 13. A diver is at an elevation of negative 23 feet from sea level. He descends another 25 feet. It was on the same OST. Like the exact same question, except with smaller numbers. How many feet does a diver need to ascend to reach sea level? So same thing, negative 23 minus 25, because he is descending further. Add them up. 23 plus 25, 48. Make sure you stick your negative back out in front. To get back to sea level, he would have to go back up 48 feet. Now, here's a very key difference, and here's why I love that both of these questions are on here. This says, what is the new depth? The depth would still be negative 2,050. He is 2,050 meters below sea level. However, question 13 says, how many feet does the diver need to ascend? We're talking about two different things here. In question 1, we're talking about how far below sea level this submarine is. Okay? How far down is it? Well, in this question, we're looking at a diver. And we say, how far does he need to go back up? This is negative. This is positive. It's all about context. Question 14. Which expression is equivalent to x plus negative y for all rational numbers? This is like the third time we've seen this question at this point, except it's in reverse. X plus negative y is the same as x minus y. I can go back to question 4 if you want to see an explanation on that. Just remember, distributed property, you would distribute this positive, and that would just change nothing. You just get rid of the parentheses. All right, so that is the end of that standard. Oh, hold on. Hold on one second. I did say I would go back to another question. So we're back to the end of question 4, part 3 of question 4. And the reason that I wanted to come back to this was mainly because I wanted to double check myself. Okay, this seemed like, I don't want to say it seemed like an easy solution, but it just seemed deceptive. But, you know, it really is what I thought it was. So if you were to take a number line, right, ignoring the actual question itself, if you were to take a number line, and let's say you wanted to know, let's go to 5, the distance between point P and point M here, how would you do it? You would do M minus P, or 5 minus 2, which is 3. Okay? It's the same idea here. The fact that these are in the negative side of the number line doesn't matter. It is still just M minus P, or any equivalent expression that would give M minus P. Create an expression that represents the distance on the number line between M and P. So you take M and you minus P. All right, so that's going to do it for this lesson. For this standard, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And good luck on the OST.